Hi everyone, welcome to Adobe Live. We're here today with muralist and maker Faith Cow, aka Faith Calculator. We're joining you here today from Oakland, California. So yeah, welcome Faith. So excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited for today.
totally. Today Faith is going to show us how she's going to be illustrating and designing a zine on her iPad with Fresco. But before we jump into that, I just want to say hi to everyone who's joining us in the chat. If you're joining us live, please feel free to introduce yourself, share where you're joining us from. And our question of the day, as always, is what did you last eat? So we'll answer those same questions as well. Please feel free to shout it out in the chat. So yeah, Faith, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and answer our random food question of the day?
Well, first, hello to everybody. Thank you for joining today. I am Faith Gao, also known as Calculator. Calculator is just like a fun little name I go by. And the last thing I ate was my dinner last night. I typically don't eat breakfast, but last night I ate curry with some mirin salad.
Wow,
from
that's
Berkeley
so
Bowl.
good.
Yeah. What'd you
Nice.
eat?
Well, introducing myself, my name's Alice, also muralist. And I just heated up leftovers, which was spicy fish. It's like that Chinese Sichuan
Yeah.
spicy fish with rice and string beans. It was leftovers from dinner last
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Also
We both
great.
had leftovers.
Yes, from Wonderful, if anyone knows where that is. Yeah, and hi to everyone joining us from the chat. Hi to Apurva, Robert, Ara, who says the
Oh,
fruit
yeah.
earrings.
Ara is also a muralist.
Oh, welcome, Muralist Club, and Oliver, Ray, who's joining us in from London, Penny, Doodles. Yeah. So, Faith, today we're going to be seeing your process for illustrating a zine. Could you tell us a little bit about this project and how you're going to get started with Fresco?
Yeah, so for a backstory, Aiya is like an expression used by many Chinese and also a lot of Southeast Asian people. It is like a word similar to like, oh my God, or kind of like a cuss word in a way,
Yeah.
but it's like more PG, I feel. It's a word that you say when you've like stubbed your toe or you're surprised or if you're kind of disappointed about, things like not turning on the rice cooker when you were supposed to
Yeah.
hours ago.
Yeah. Or leaving the rice in the rice cooker.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you forgot to take it out.
Yeah, or like, not defrosting your meat when you were supposed to or something like that. But Aiya is just a term used by many Chinese people, and it's a really great word, and I decided I wanted to make a zine out of it. And this is my first zine ever, actually. It was really a fun process to make. I've been meaning to make a zine for the longest time, and I'm so glad I'm finally able to do so.
Cool.
And with one of my favorite words.
Love it. Cool. So where are you in the process of the zine? I see that we're looking at your Fresco screen here,
Yes.
which shows you've got a sketch going on.
Yeah, so for my first Aiya zine, I actually started this project with another friend, Paulina. I couldn't finish that one, unfortunately. It's much longer than this one. This one's only an 8-page zine. The one I was going to do with Paulina is like a 16-page zine. It's more about
wow.
everyday life. Yeah. And so this one is going to just be an artist edition. And so it'll be the first one, but then the other one will come out probably like by the end of September or so.
Cool.
But so this one is just going to be an artist edition of like everything an artist faces whenever like they're like Aiya moments in as an artist, and so it's like stuff like if you were to dip your paint brush into your drink versus like your coffee,
yes,
or like
yes.
yeah
Using
stuff
the
like
paint
that,
water.
or like
Yeah.
accidentally drinking your paint water instead of drinking your cup of coffee. Like that's an
Yes.
Aiya moment.
Yes.
You're just like Aiya.
Yes.
And so this one that I'm currently working on, this one is it coincides another one that I am doing. Just to show you guys real quickly, this one is when you have art block, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, and so it's like an Aiya moment when you're like, it's time to work, and now you can't work. And then the other one is a moment when like you've tried to work for like 10 hours, and then later that night you're going to bed, and then all of a sudden you have all these ideas rush to your head. That's a very Aiya moment, I feel. That happens to me a lot. My brain just cannot stop when it's like 2 a.m., but it can't work at 9 a.m.
Got it.
Yeah.
So where are you in the process now? Like you're coloring in the design, it looks like?
Yeah, so
Rendering?
right now I have the sketch, and I'm going to be filling in all of the line work, and then I'm going to be coloring it in, and then we'll probably head over to Photoshop, and we'll start like assembling the zine. And so I'm going to take you through that process of how I like to color block everything. It's a very tedious process, that's for sure, and I just wanted to show you all. But
Cool.
We're going to start now onto Adobe Fresco. I'm using Adobe Fresco, and right now I'm using the pixel brushes. One of my favorite brushes to use on here is the news print inker. That's one of my favorite brushes. It looks like, oh, interesting. My iPad pencil. Okay, okay, there you go. So yeah, this is the newspaper brush, and I'm going to just outline everything, and then I'm going to fill everything in blocks. The way I like to do my outlines right now is just through, I like to combine everything first, and then afterwards I block all the colors out.
Cool.
Yeah,
This is a cool brush.
thank you.
I like the fuzzy like texture.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite textures. I find that when you're Riso printing, more texture or like more noise is better, versus like really solid or opaque like line work. Like I feel like when I try to have design in there, like sometimes my designs will get like stuck in the Risograph machine because it's too like inky. Like it just gets really sticky if you have too much opacity. Yeah, so that's
Wait. Opacity is
or not opacity, when it's too
solid?
yeah, when it's solid. Yeah. Yeah, so you always want to add a little bit of noise. I like to add a lot of noise.
Yeah. Interesting. That's a good tip. So you like to add more like this texture stuff.
Yeah. And especially if you like doing Risograph with a lot of gradients in it, I find that noise really, really helps blend the gradients a lot better.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Is it because you get like ink banding otherwise?
Yeah, you do. You get really bad ink banding.
This is good info for anyone who wants to set up a Riso file.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, looking at through the chat and the responses, Jack had leftover Thai food.
Ooh,
Penny
Thai
had a
food.
salad for lunch. Apurva had rice and spicy curry with potatoes. Sounds really good.
That sounds so good.
Sounds so good. And Jack says they have the ingredient to make curry this week, but it's been
Ooh.
too hot. Nice.
It has been really hot lately too. In the Bay Area, it's been like, has it been hot in SF yet?
It's been not foggy, which I think is the SF version.
Yeah.
Hot. Yeah.
Because I know in SF it's usually like your summers are in October, right?
Yes. I can explain this phenomenon too. But yeah, I think just a quick note with the window, if we could just scooch it down a little, because I think Faith is drawing a little bit lower
Oh yeah,
on the screen.
I'm gonna draw lower.
Yeah. Yeah, basically SF is very foggy in the summer because the rest of the like land is hot because it's like summertime. So then like the ocean water meets the hot land. The ocean temperature meets the hot land temperature, and that produces the fog. So there's the most fog in SF when like the rest of the land is hot, unfortunately.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then when the temperatures cool down in the rest of the like inland area, then there's less fog because there's less of that temperature differential.
Oh. How'd you learn about that?
Oh, because I was so like upset about the fog this summer. So I was like, what is up with this fog? And then yeah, learned about the phenomenon.
That's so funny. That's usually how I get about learning things too, when I'm upset about things.
Yeah,
like,
I
why
was
is
just
this
like
happening?
complaining to myself. Yeah. That's so cool. So are you doing like line work for this? Cool.
Yeah.
And you always do the line work first?
I always do the line work first because it helps me visualize like where things need to be blocked.
Oh.
Truthfully, because this is my first zine, I chose to go with line work because I thought it would just help me define my style a bit more before I really figure out what my zine aesthetic is. I find that with certain things, I have a very specific way I like to do things.
Oh.
Yeah, so I recently figured out how I like to do greeting cards, and there's a very specific style I do that with that. But
What do you mean? Say more.
So with my greeting cards, if you want to grab one over there.
Yeah.
But I just created a bunch of new greeting cards, and I feel like the new styles I've been doing is I have the fruit on the bottom and then text on top, and then I switch between left and right of which way I go with the fruit. But yeah.
Oh. Like which way the fruit is looking?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah. And
Cool.
I try to keep it even too, and so I found my design style that way. But also with murals, I have a very line art aesthetic to it as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I love the puns. This one says, and they lived happily ever after.
Yeah, that's a marriage card.
I love you to your core. And thanks for always being prepared
Yes.
to pair. That's great. Love that. Yeah, and you mentioned that you have a shop relaunch coming up soon, right?
Yes, I do. It's been a while since I've updated my shop, but I'm going to have a shop update. Oh goodness.
Yeah, sorry. I think I might have unfocused the camera
It's okay.
when I took out the greeting card.
Maybe it wants the greeting cards again. It's show more. Interesting. Do we have to go closer?
Okay. No,
Oh
I think I
yeah,
fixed it.
there you
Okay.
go. There you go.
Okay. So it was the greeting cards. Yeah. And you mentioned you have a shop update coming up too. Is that
Yeah.
what these greeting cards are for?
Yeah, those. Well, I've also just I've been wanting to make greeting cards for the longest time, or more print with fruit on them. I actually make fruit earrings, which Alice is actually wearing today. I'm also wearing my fruit earrings, but Alice is wearing my cherry fruit earrings, which I've made from polymer clay and felt. And then these are my pear fruit earrings that have the little encasing around the pears.
Oh, cool.
They're the Asian pears. Yeah.
Love that. That's so cool. So that's coming in a week.
Yeah, it's coming. I think that's a week from now.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I know about your business, but to introduce you to everyone who's watching, can you tell us a little bit about your art practice and the different channels that you have? So you have your murals and shop.
Yeah. So I I like to sell my artwork, and so one of the channels I do work on is polymer clay and felt. And what is it called? I'm trying to think of all the things I do, because I've done a lot of art, but then I've also put away a lot of art just because I realize it gets too busy for me. But I have
You mean
started.
you've retired?
Oh yeah, I've retired them.
Okay.
Ceramics, I've retired. I think it just doesn't make sense for me, just because my hands, I have eczema, and so dry hands, it just doesn't make any sense to keep doing clay when it dries out my hands completely.
It does.
Yeah.
My hands are really dry right now. Yeah.
You gotta get that salve for ceramicists, yeah.
Yeah.
But for my shop, I like to sell Risograph art prints as well as digital art prints. I did lino cut for a little bit too, and that's been really fun. And I also sell stickers as well as greeting cards. But yeah, I think that's oh, and my earrings. And I also sell them as keychains too, whenever I can make them into keychains, because I know not everyone wears earrings. But I also do make clip-on earrings for people who want to wear earrings, but they don't have ear piercings, which I feel ear piercings are a very daunting thing to get anyway.
They are. Yeah, I let mine grow in actually, because I just didn't want to have them anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and you also do mural stuff and like kind of commercial client work?
Yes, I also do client work when the commissions come. I think the most recent one I did, well, I also had, it was a project like collaboration type of thing. And so I designed a menu board and
Oh,
yeah, I designed a menu board for Foshodo. It's a Vietnamese restaurant and they have a location in Oakland as well as in San Pablo or on San Pablo Ave. I guess it's like Albany, Berkeley area.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like borderline. It's always confusing. But I had my friend Mew Doodles help me with that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so she got firsthand experience on a menu board, so that was really nice.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ara says, I think they're referring to your earrings. They're super cute and light with anything. And we love an inclusive and mindful queen. I think also about your earrings. Yeah. Love it. Love. Yes, and Jack linked to Faith's shop. Oh, and hi to Alice Yang.
Hi!
Yes, he's in the chat. Yeah. I know that you didn't go to school for art. You studied the sciences.
I did. I
Yes.
get embarrassed about it just because.
Really?
Yeah, because I
think
didn't
that's
go to
cool.
art school.
No, I think that's very cool. It, like, demands respect, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because you really forged your path.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
you
guess that
had
makes
like
sense.
an immense willpower to.
Yeah, do art.
Yeah, I
Well,
think so. Totally. Yeah. So, do you mind telling us a little bit about your journey and yeah.
Yeah, so I guess like most kids, you know, when you go to school, you go to kindergarten and they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And for me, my answer was always an artist, and I had no idea why. I think I just like watched too much cartoons and I was like, oh, I want to do that.
That's so relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually a lot of people's inspiration points.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Like
like
watching cartoons?
Animation,
Oh,
like Pixar, Disney.
yeah. That would make a lot of sense. But I also just like loved Sanrio and Hello
Oh,
Kitty.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved Sanrio.
Yeah.
Potako was always my favorite.
Nice. I like
do you have it?
Karopi.
Yeah, Karopi's
Yeah.
so cute. So yeah, and because of that, I had always had that in the back of my mind. But then I went into chemical engineering. I actually was going to do,
Oh.
yeah, I was going to do pharmacy, and then I realized I really did not enjoy the pharmaceutical pathway. And so
Oh.
instead I began to do chemical engineering because I had a lot of friends. I went to community college and then I went to UC Davis, and a lot of friends who were just like, oh, you should just do engineering if you're already like doing chemistry. Like it doesn't make sense. You have like so much more options with chemical engineering. And then I did it. Got my degree from my parents, and then I graduated, and then that's when COVID hit in 2020. So I graduated 2019.
Oh,
and
you're
then-
so young.
Yeah. Well, I actually took a lot longer because I switched majors too. So I actually went to college for like 6 years.
Got it.
Instead
got
of
it.
4. So
You're
I
still
would've-
very young.
Yeah, I'm still very young.
Uh-huh.
But what is it? So I graduated and then COVID hit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to find any chemical engineering jobs. I was living at San Diego in that time. And I was like, let me just try this art thing, you know, just to see how it is. I was living with my partner and he was able to sustain us. I'm going to be moving up now on the drawing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, and then I tried it out and it was really fun. I did take a year break only because I got a little burnt out. Burnout is really real. I didn't realize, like, being an artist, like, it's kind of hard to create when you're trying to create like 24/7.
I've been thinking a lot about burnout and how to like quantify it. I know it's like a feeling, of course. It's like first and foremost like a feeling you have. And if anyone in the chat or who's watching it afterwards has thoughts, like please feel free to share. I feel like for me, burnout manifests when I'm excessively doing stuff I don't want to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I don't feel like I burn out by default if I'm working like crazy hours, but I like really want to do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I've only ever burnt out when I like felt like I forced myself for a long time to do something I did not want to, or didn't also necessarily need to do.
Yeah.
But I like felt like I had to.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
your imperfectionist brain kind of like takes over a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking of like when I worked in-house, for example, my one and only in-house job. And I was like a product designer, and I felt like I had to do a lot of like extra stuff.
Yeah.
But I like didn't need to do that. I was just like pushing myself. But it wasn't like necessary.
Yeah.
So, but then in my mind, I like created a narrative that all that extra stuff was.
Oh.
Yeah. Or maybe if you like live in a prolonged state of like stress for things you cannot control.
Yeah.
I think that also like creates
Did you take
burnout.
breaks, or like were you good about taking breaks?
I feel like I'm decent at taking breaks. Yeah, like the way that I structure my art practice now is like I just bake breaks a lot, like because I just have a lot of different interests, like you.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
the commercial art, but then there's also like ceramics,
Ceramics,
and
yeah.
I'm very into like tufting now. It's like my
Oh,
new
yeah, like
little
you
hobby.
were into sewing for a bit, and then
Yeah.
also crochet. Did you crochet or did you knit?
Oh, I'm into crochet. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like inherently like you take a break from one thing by doing the other.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think when I was younger, I didn't really understand that as much. Oh, thanks to Alessandra who's joining us and says she had teriyaki chicken for lunch. Yum yum. And she likes the style. It's very pretty.
Thank you.
Yay! And Penny says burnout is real. I have sensitivity when it comes to sensory processing, so it's tricky to not get overwhelmed when society is so fast. Yeah, I think that's also why it's very interesting to hear about how other people describe burnout for themselves.
Yeah.
Because it is also like a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like something that causes you burnout might not cause me burnout, and like vice versa.
Yeah. So I guess for me, for burnout, I am an extreme perfectionist, and I'm very extra when it comes to things. I will do things up until the last moment. For nobody else but myself. I really just enjoy like having people enjoy a nice experience, especially like when it comes to like markets, especially.
Oh, so you mean like with your booth setup?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you guys haven't seen my booth setup, but I have a fruit stand selling my fruit earrings, and so it's like a really user experience to have, like, you know, you're going to like the farmer's market in a way. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. I do burn out a lot thinking like, oh, maybe this doesn't look good, or like it's not good enough. And I know well enough it is good enough, but in my mind, I like, this is not perfect enough. And I really get about
That's very interesting. I
Yeah.
feel like that's a different experience from what I'm describing. Because it sounds like you want to do the fruit stand, like you want to do it.
Yeah, and then I like don't allocate enough time, so I procrastinate a lot of things. Truthfully, I like I just invoke a lot of pain towards myself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm still currently drawing. I'm almost done with this entire layer, and then
Cool.
we will zoom out in just a moment after I finish like these last few assets, and then we'll zoom out, and then I'll start coloring.
Interesting. So as you're inking, do you have like an idea of what colors you're gonna do, or are you just mostly focused on the line right now?
So colors is a very tricky thing. I feel like I don't have a good grasp of color theory. I have like the most basic sense of it, and I'm often like looking at colors for a really, really long time. But with Riso, it's nice because I'm only limited to a certain amount of colors, especially if I want to do like one or two. I'm gonna zoom out now, and then we're gonna start getting to inking.
Cool.
But
And you are doing Riso printing for
yes,
this.
I am. I'm doing Risograph printing for this. And so the two colors that I chose for this Risograph was teal and fluorescent pink. Fluorescent pink has been like this color that I've been really, really loving as of lately. It's just, I don't know, I just really love it. There's something about it that just like so eluding to me. But we're gonna get started on coloring now. And I'm going to zoom out of the photo just so we get a better view of everything.
Apurva says it's really important to take breaks. Totally get that.
Yes.
And Sharon said, hi Sharon, says it's the most iconic booth at craft fairs.
Thank you. Oh.
Cool. Okay. Interesting.
So now that we're doing the layers, I'm just gonna block certain things out. And so sometimes I will just go behind, or so this is a part that gets tricky.
Oh, why?
Because so I'm doing a method in Riso printing called knockout, where the black line is touching the pink line. And so how Risograph works, if you guys have never done Risograph before, I should have introduced this in the beginning, but better late than never. It works by, if you imagine what screen printing is. Screen printing is like you print layer by layer, one layer by layer, and then it's also like it's called a stencil duplicator. And so it prints one layer at a time, and basically you're supposed to stack on top of these layers in order to get your final result. And so when I'm trying to do knockout, I'm trying to make sure like this is aligned. I can stack the layers, but with risograph printing, the ink is pretty translucent. And so when you don't do a knockout, it combines the colors together.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the black line, the outline is going to be a different color than the background that you're painting. The pink. So you need to not have any overlap.
Yeah, because I'll change into a different color. So imagine if I was doing like blue and pink, if I was to have the layers touch, it would create purple.
Like there'd be like a little edge of purple.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So can you just paint the background and then like in Photoshop, so magic wand the line and then just delete it from the background?
I think that's possible. There's many ways to do it, honestly.
I
I just do it this way. A lot of people actually use like risograph printing for different amount of ways. I typically just do digital printing when it comes to risograph. That's like the easiest for me, I feel. And so I do it this way just because, again, risograph printing is like, it's like ceramics in a way where it's like you don't know what result you're gonna get every single time. So sometimes I will have like misalignment and I'll try to fix it as best as I can. But then I also just think like, that's
charming.
It's part of the art form. I'm just gonna leave it as that.
Yeah.
And it is just gonna be what it's gonna be. And it's fine, I mean, like it's like human error, which I think is a beautiful thing to look at.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Jack says a YouTube question for Faith. What were some or one pivotal moment that brought you to do your murals?
Oh.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like how, because I feel like doing murals is like, it's like the sport version of art. It's like so physical.
Yeah.
So like it requires a lot of like intention to just start that randomly. So like how did you start that?
Yeah, I kind of did start it randomly. I started murals in, what year was it? I think it was 2022, so about 2 years ago. It wasn't like, it really just came to me out of nowhere. I've always wanted to do murals. One of my biggest inspirations was Lauren Hom from Hom Sweet Hom.
Yeah.
Or is it Hom Sweet Home?
Home Sweet Home.
Yeah, Hom Sweet Home.
Cool. Shout out to Lauren. Yeah.
So I saw Lauren do murals. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. And it was like one of the most like biggest goals I've ever wanted to do. And I started out by doing this little creative jam in Concord. And
what is that? Like
it was like a nonprofit, and then we just basically had like an 8x8 mural that we got to paint on. We could choose whatever. It just couldn't have any like profanity, of course. It had to be like PG-13. And we were allowed to paint it, and then we had to donate it. And so I thought that was the perfect way because, why not start that way? And then from there, I think I just like, from the skills that I had from like engineering of like professionalism and stuff, I always have decks whenever I'm presenting like things to clients for like, when it comes to commissions and all that. And so I think I presented it in my portfolio and then slowly started being like, oh, I'm a muralist. And then, kind of like fake it till you make it type of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I kind of started doing murals, and I really enjoy it. And then, I just slowly started getting my name out there with murals.
How do you think people find you?
I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know.
Or like commercial work?
I don't know how they find me. It's either through word of mouth or like somehow, I feel like I'm on this radar or this list or something that people go through, because I ask people sometimes and they're like, oh, well, we saw your profile. And we have like a list of artists and you were just like grouped into a bunch of them. And I've asked certain clients before and I was just like curious, and that's what they've told me. And so I don't know what this like master list is. But I also think that I am very prevalent in the Asian American artist like space. A lot of my hashtags on Instagram are like hashtag Asian American artist, hashtag like women artists and stuff like that. And so I find that that's like one of the ways that happens.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Kelly wants to know, what is your favorite mural and why?
Ooh, I will say it has to be I'm like really stuck in between two because they're both like really, really fun. But what I think it has to be the Nor mural. I did a mural in Denver, Colorado, and it was with the company Nor. They make like seasonings and stuff like that. And so the concept of the mural was that I was supposed to create a mural that related to my heritage. And it fit so well because like my family has always used Nor products growing up. And so I got to do that mural in Denver, and it includes everything that like I love to eat. So one of them is like this soup this Vietnamese soup that I've eaten a lot in my lifetime. It's called ganchuo. It's like a sour. It's really similar to like sinigang.
Okay.
I don't know how it's this. It's like sour and not sweet. It's like spicy sour.
Ooh, I'm getting getting hungry. Yeah.
But it has like elephant ear and stuff like that, or the elephant root. Yeah,
What's
and
a
like
mushroom?
fish.
Oh.
No, I don't know how to. It's like tamarind based, I think. That's what it is.
Okay.
And then I also had dumplings on there, and then
Mooncake, right?
no, it was
no.
beng gui. So beng gui is a tu jiao dish, and it's not mooncake, but it is similar in concept. It's basically a pink, sticky, rice glutinous like outside, and then inside has sticky rice.
Oh,
like
cool.
fried sticky rice.
That sounds so good.
Yeah. But that's a tu jiao dish, and I was glad I was able to like incorporate that.
Yeah, Alessandra says, please, Faith, don't make me hungry. We just finished lunch. Sounds really good. Yeah, these are great questions. Keep them coming if you have questions about what Faith's doing, Faith's process, or Faith's journey.
Right now I'm adding a teal layer onto everything. I've put the teal layers and the pink layers on separate layers just so when I do start to combine all the layers, I'm going to change them to black, and then from there we're going to bring all the files to Photoshop and then get it prepped for printing.
Got it. Yes, this
Yeah.
answers a question someone had earlier, which is about your layers. And yeah, Faith is using separate layers for
Yes.
Each color.
Yes.
Yeah. So then is the black line going to be black, or is it going to be blue?
So the line work is going to be, I could add a third color, but I'm actually going to change it all to teal, and then some of the things are going to be pink. And so I'll go back and then like change that. Yeah.
So you don't have to do the like, what's it called? The punch out method?
Oh, the knockout method?
Yeah, the knockout method for the blue, if the line is going to be blue.
I will still do the knockout method. I mean, I technically don't have to, but I'm changing the different opacities. And so, if I show you here, for this layer, this teal layer, if I go in the settings panel and I change the opacity, it will print like this opacity. And so it's not like 100% black, but blue. And then I change it to like 50. And so this is how I'm going to print it. And that's how you get like the different separations of layers, which is really nice. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Ilsandra wants to know, how do you pick your colors? Do you use a color reference?
Yes, I do. I can show you guys a really quick color reference that I use. I often buy these Riso like color swatches from like a lot of people. So this one's actually from Lun Sun, from a Vietnamese, what's it called? A Vietnamese Riso printing in Vietnam. I got this when I went to my trip in
I like the ring.
I know, it's cute. They did
Yeah.
it like this because once they get more Riso drums, they can add more colors to
Oh.
this. And so this booklet basically shows you the different opacities, and you can see there, this is the, I think, aqua, and then so this is the different opacities you can get once you reach like smaller opacities.
We're like beauty bloggers.
I know, beauty bloggers.
But with
Riso.
with Riso, yeah.
And so you can see all the different opacities. This is,
Oh.
yeah, so this is really nice. This is a really handy tool.
I like this, that they show how the gradient
The
interacts.
gradients, yeah. And you can't really tell too well, but it does show like what colors look combined. And so this is like aqua. Oh, this is aqua and pink. And then this is like
that's very
black
useful.
and aqua.
Yeah.
And so this is really nice for like showing what colors work well. This is one of my favorite color combos.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the pink and yellow.
So this one, this gradient one, how many unique colors do you think that is?
I honestly think it could be 3.
It's like yellow, pink
and
this
blue.
one?
Yeah. And then they just like layered them across, which is really easy. And that's why most Riso printing studios don't have a lot of colors, because you can just mix them, you know, like as you would with paint. But you just have to think of it in like a layer, like graphical sense, if that makes sense.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. And I wanted to show a different book. This is a really great book to show.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a really nice book. It came with
I want to read. Can I see?
Yeah.
This is so cool.
It came with all of these different gradients as well, and you can see at the very top what colors like match well. And so this is like the blue, pink, and yellow, and like it'll show each one. So this is a great book reference if you guys are ever interested. I feel like with Riso, it's kind of hard to like convert digital to Riso. A lot of people use photographs, which is really nice.
Yeah, like here. The way that they are printing the photograph. That's so interesting.
I have a friend who yesterday printed this photo. She took this photo on what is it? She took a photo on her iPhone, did some editing using like Snapseed, and then she printed it like just using the Risograph bed. And so Risograph is like it's like a photocopier as well, and so you could just like copy the photo, and then it'll create the stencils, and then she just layered like a bunch of colors. I think she layered like 3. Yeah.
So she had to extract like, I don't know, the lights or something.
Yeah.
And then that made it, those became red, and then the darks, and then those became blue.
There's a lot of interesting things you could do, but a lot of my Riso is digital.
Oh, I love the show and tell.
So this one's one of my ones that I did before the Aiya zine, but yeah.
I really like the way the pink and the gold interact. The
yellow.
It's like marigolds.
I actually combined
pink.
I combined the pink and the yellow to make that kind of marigold color, because there's a color in Risograph printing actually called cornflower. Cornflower yellow.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like one of my favorite colors from Risograph, or in the Risograph like ink drums, but we don't have that at the studio, and so instead I just combined the pink and the yellow, and that like gave me the result that I wanted. And so sometimes you'll have to layer, and it doesn't always look the best, but it does what you want it to do.
Have you ever been like, this is too much work, I'm just gonna print it digitally? Like I'm just gonna print it on like a printer.
Sometimes I think that did happen. I was making like a mushroom card or something like that, and I had done it, like fleshed it out completely. And
for Riso setup?
Yeah, for Riso setup. And then I was like, I can't go into the studio right now. And so I just decided to just fully color it in. I see. So I was like, I did all that work for like one greeting card, and it was like way too much work. Yeah, it wasn't the smartest things, but yeah,
that's
again,
funny.
That's probably what gets me like, burnout.
No, I would do that too. Like, you know what? Nah, I'm just gonna like print it on my normal printer.
Yeah, because like at some point, like going to the Riso studio, it's really nice having the Riso studio, but at the same time, it gets to be a little difficult. The Riso studio I go to is at Max's Garage Press, also known as Tiny Splendor. And they have memberships as well as like they used to have walk-ins, but they have a great studio, but sometimes the monitors aren't always there, and like that's understandable, or like the times that I want to go, it just doesn't make sense for me to go, and so I just end up printing at my own at-home printer.
Yeah, I could totally relate, because especially if there's like a degree of uncertainty of how it's going to turn out, you're just like, I don't have the mental energy to like deal with this right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go spend 3 hours and it could still not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also
I can
don't
relate.
Yeah, and you also don't know who's going to be at the studio a lot of the time.
Oh, I see, I see. So if you get stuck or something.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like well, I also find that whenever I'm at the studio by myself, I always cry.
Oh,
'Cause, like,
okay.
there's no one to help me.
I see, I
And so
see.
I'm just like, what is going on? I always call out to my friend Christina. Christina who? I don't know if you know who that is. She's
Yes, I have
Christina
one of her
Blob.
prints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
One of her
always
Riso prints.
Yeah, she's a great Risograph printer. I'm always calling her and like crying. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with the Risograph printer. It keeps jamming. And then
That
she's
is
like,
annoying.
yeah, she has like really, really helpful tips. She's a great Risograph printer.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. And everyone in the chat is amazed at the magic of Riso and the different colors.
Yeah, it's really nice because Riso is one of those printers that gets you fluorescent pink. I feel like, you know, when you're printing, if any of you guys print stuff at home, you know the switch of like RGB to CMYK. And like it's nice because Risograph just does like is it CMYK? I think yeah, they do CMYK
cool.
like because you can't get fluorescent pinks with like
Yeah.
a regular at-home
Yeah.
printer.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I mean, relatedly, so Faith also every year you do a red envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And are yours Riso printed or
No,
Okay.
they're not. Yeah, I
They're-
know you did Risograph.
you do the gold foiling? with
Yeah,
them? Okay.
well, the very first time, again, like this is probably what got me burnt out because I do things really extra for no reason.
Okay,
Um,
I can relate. I feel like a lot of artists can relate.
Yeah,
That's like
so-
the energy we got into this with.
Yeah. But I really wanted to do a red envelope, but it was like way too late to like contact manufacturers and everything. There was no way I was gonna get a manufacturer to do. There was no way I was gonna get a manufacturer to get like red envelopes in time for like Lunar New Year.
Yeah.
And so I basically I got red paper from Michaels and I created the envelope shape on there. I printed it out. I cut each one by hand on a
Not even like with a Cricut.
no,
just like hand.
I cut them all by hand.
Okay.
It was really bad. I cut like I think like 300 envelopes.
Okay.
So I cut them all by hand. I folded them all by hand. I glued them all by hand, and then I also gold foiled them on top. And so the way I printed them out was on a laser printer. And then from a laser printer, you can put like these gold foil sheets on top, and then they're like heat activated gold foiled sheets, and then ran that through a laminator, and that's how I got my gold foil envelopes. It was a very, very
nuts.
tedious process. I don't know how I did it. After like about 100, I was like, okay, I should really stop and like stop selling these. But people kept buying them, and I was like, you know what, we're just gonna keep going. And so I've learned, and now I get them made at Mercutio Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
so-
manufacturing printing company.
Printing company in Berkeley. I really love them. They're really nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I did risograph printing for my red envelopes that I did last year. First time making red envelopes. Kind of similar to you. I was just like, I was in Taiwan at the time,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
saw that the Riso shop near my hotel in this like random city made Riso red envelopes. So I was like, oh, I could just do that. Like it's right there, you know.
Do they only do Riso
No,
envelopes?
they do other things. Yeah.
But did they have like a workshop or something?
They also had a workshop. So I was like, oh, I want to learn, practice Chinese. It was very difficult. I didn't understand anything.
Oh, that's me.
Also, I zoned out because, you know, I feel like I don't do well in like art class settings.
Oh yeah, when
So I
you're
was
like,
just like, okay, I get the gist. I don't know, ADHD.
yeah.
But,
You only have so much attention.
yeah, I was just
span.
like doodling. Yeah, but I don't think I would do Riso again because I think that Riso had some difficulties.
Oh, what'd you
yeah.
run into?
So one issue is that the Riso ink, like it like rubs a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was really worried about like, because most people bought packs of red envelopes.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
3 or 10.
Yeah.
So I was really worried about like one red envelope rubbing onto the back of the other. Because I had
it's gold, right?
yeah. And my envelope was white and gold. So I cut out with like a paper cutter, like these little papers to put in between.
Oh my goodness.
But like, I just like would prefer not to worry about that.
Yeah.
And then another thing is the color was a little bit, it was like more unpredictable.
Really?
You know, with like the registration.
Oh,
'Cause I had
yeah,
two colors. So sometimes I'd have like seconds where like it'd be totally not aligned.
Yeah. That does
And-
happen with Riso. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was my first time selling red envelopes, so I didn't really order that many.
Oh.
And so, but then I had seconds, so then
Uh-huh.
it made me like feel sad
Aww.
because I like didn't have that many to begin with.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then the color, like some parts of the color that didn't turn out like exactly how I
Envisioned
anticipated.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you use gold, right?
Yeah, I used gold, which was one reason why I wanted to do Riso, because they do have gold ink.
Yeah.
But that is kind of rare, I think. I haven't like
It is.
found a lot of shops in the US that have gold.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then also white. And then the white, when you print white on red, it becomes pink.
It becomes pink.
It's not actually white, which makes sense to me, like logically, but I thought it'd be more white. So I was like, I literally cried.
Oh no!
I was like, this isn't what I wanted, like intended.
No.
But then I grew to love it. But you know, it's like the delta between what you were expecting and what, you know.
Yeah, like what you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also cool to see you adjusting the opacities here.
I'm changing the colors a bit and I'm adjusting opacities. I realized I want the shirt to be pink, and so I just use the paint bucket tool and I just select it or input the color that way.
Oh, Ray says we need to do a session on Riso printing.
Oh,
I agree.
Riso printing's hard.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that like it could eat hours of your time, especially if you're doing it digitally. But I really would recommend everyone going to Riso printing, like especially for your first time. Don't have like large expectations for it and like really lean into the process, I think. Just because it's so unpredictable, it's ridiculous.
I think it's hard to not have expectations.
Yeah.
As we're all like perfectionists.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yes, I think we need to do a Riso session. Although this is kind of turning into a mini Riso session. So
in a way,
if you have questions, you should ask Faith because she does do this often for her shop.
Riso printing is one of those beasts that you just like. I've always wanted to Riso print too. That was another thing. I was like, I want to make a zine and I want to Riso print, and I finally am able to do those things.
What kind of paper do you use for Riso?
For Riso?
Yeah, like what is the paper you have?
So I have this paper that I buy from Kelly Paper. They used to have so many stores. They used to have a store in SF.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. But now they closed like, I think they closed like their Palo Alto location, their Oakland location, and then most recently like their Hayward location. So it's like now and only in Concord. But you can buy online, you can buy it. But I buy Cougar paper.
Okay.
And depending on what I do, I buy the text weight or the cover weight. And so one's just like more heavier cardstock, and the other one is good for like printing the inside pages so you can like fold them nicely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you do like test prints on like a
Yeah.
paper you don't care about?
Yeah. So at Max's, it's really nice. People actually leave their ugly prints.
Yeah.
And those ugly prints sometimes don't have like a back, and so I'll take those and I use that for like the test printing, just to see, because you waste so much paper when it comes to risograph printing.
Interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's kind of just the way it is. But I feel like that's like how life is. You just need to make mistakes before learning how to really learn how to do something. And so I've made a ton of mistakes, and I feel like I'm still making mistakes, but I kind of just lean into it. I just think they're, little human errors, which I think are totally fine.
Yeah. And now as we're working up on the canvas, it's cool to see, the composition start to develop as we move up. I totally feel you. I was cleaning out my studio in my house, my office room, and I like came across a stack of my friend Amy's like misprinted comics zine. I clearly like put that I clearly she was like throwing it away, and I like saved it.
Oh, did you like dig them out the trash or
and
something like that?
It's just been in like my studio, I guess. So yeah.
I love that. I feel like a lot of us like printers would just throw away some stuff like that, but like it's nice that you see the beauty in it.
Yeah,
and
I've been working through it. I just use the other side for taking notes.
You just use the other side
during calls and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's smart. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, just like scratch paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually wanted to ask a question to everyone in the chat. So Faith's handle is Faith Calculator. because her name is Faith Cow. She recently changed it
Yes.
from calculator to Faith Calculator.
Yes.
So my other random question I thought of today was, what was the last time you used a calculator and why? Like the last use of a calculator you had. So mine was yesterday I was trying to roll out some slabs to make ceramic
clay.
tiles.
Yeah.
And I had to calculate how big my slab had to be.
Oh,
It was like, 4.75 inches
Yeah,
times
yeah.
like 3. Okay, how big is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I used a calculator was for my most recent market. I was like calculating how much I made that day.
Nice.
Or like how much, I was calculating how much I made that day, but also like, some other things of like how much inventory I had. I feel like that's always really helpful. Calculators for markets are really, really helpful.
Do you have a physical calculator? Or do you
I
have
do.
A phone?
Oh man, I could show you right now.
Let's see your let's see Faith Calculator's calculator.
My calculator actually has my name, calculator.
Oh,
on it.
Is that a graphing calculator?
It is.
Oh my god.
So
I was trying to find my graphing calculator for this today and I could not.
this is my graphing calculator from high school. It
Wow.
actually says calculator from when I was in high school. So the name calculator actually comes from someone in one of my like English classes or something like that was like, they like called me over and I was like, what's going on? And then they're like, oh, you know what your last name could be? You're like, your Faith Calculator because you're good at math. I was actually good
cool.
at math, which is why I went to engineering, but also like had a associates in what's called in math.
So what
But yeah.
model is that? TI something?
TI-89.
TI-89. I also had a TI-89, but mine looked different.
Really?
I think mine was like light gray.
Oh, they had different colorways.
Yeah.
I got this one and this was really expensive.
It was expensive. Yeah.
I remember back in the day, it was like maybe like $200.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a calculus class that I was doing, and but I also have this calculator. I actually like this one a little bit more just because it's more simple. This is TI 30X.
Nice.
I always use this calculator for like exams and stuff in college, but I still keep my trusty TI 89 because that was expensive.
It was expensive.
Yeah, it was so expensive.
And you could write secret notes.
You can.
In the graphing.
You can.
Yeah.
You know what the secret notes are actually for?
No.
It is for graphing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you could just write like all the equations and stuff.
Yeah, it has like
Yeah.
ABC, so you're able to write everything.
Love it. Yes. So let us know. Let us know what calculator you have used, like in high school or currently have. And what was the last time you used a calculator? I used my calculator on my phone. I use that a lot.
Oh yeah. I either use the two calculators I showed, or I guess I do use my phone one, but I don't really like it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't
the touch
have
screen.
Yeah, and it like deletes the lines.
Yeah.
It's like only a one-liner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start blocking some of the lettering on the drawing now. So I'm gonna use the lasso tool. Just going to
Jacob says, can we get all the TI-84s in the chat?
TI-84s? Oh man.
Old school. Do people still use graphing calculators?
I don't know. I
Or
don't
is it
know.
like some new thing?
I think the graphing calculators nowadays, they all have like touchscreen, or like they have like bright screens, or like it's kind of like a phone in a way.
Wow.
But I think they have touchscreen now.
What number is it? Is it like TI like 95?
100.
Really?
I'm not actually too sure. I don't know how TI. I don't know how
Instruments.
Yeah, I don't know
What are
how
they up
Texas
to?
Instruments does their stuff.
I think we've like aged out of one of their like target demographics.
Yeah, I'm
like
sure.
high schoolers.
Oh, I'm sure.
Or like college
I'm sure.
students. Yeah. Love it. So yeah, it's so cool to see you move back to the canvas and start to work on the lasso. We've got about like 30 minutes left. So I think if you have any questions about Faith's process, the Riso printing setup, now's a great time to ask. And slide rules. I don't know what's a slide rule.
Slide rule?
I don't think
too sure.
Yeah. Did anyone do abacus?
I never did abacus. I actually want to learn abacus just for fun.
It seems very useful.
Yeah,
One
it
of my-
seems.
One of my elementary school friends, she'd always be like on like whenever we'd be doing tests.
Oh,
like, she'd
really?
have a
Oh,
mental-
she like
Yeah.
mental abacus. Yeah, I think I've always wanted to learn how to use abacus just for funsies.
Yeah. We're moving back to the the Fresco drawing portion now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to speed up things a little bit, but basically you would want to block out all of your layers. And so I want actually to be both teal and the fluorescent pink color. So I'm gonna duplicate it, and then I'm just gonna use the, what is it called? The paintbrush. So I'm gonna do this. And so
Cool.
a nice and handy way, say you're like almost ready to print. Cause this, like, Riso printing takes a really long time. I'm going to speed up the process a little bit, but say you wanted to like test to see how your Riso printing is going to look like. I would change all of your settings to multiply, and then that will give you a really good idea of like what things will look like. Let's see. So yeah, so I kind of play with it a little bit to see like what kind of opacity I would like it to look like. That's the way I like to do it. A lot of people do it very different ways. Like you can also like combine all your layers, and then you would go back into Photoshop, and then you can like fill the layer, clipping mask, and then change the settings that way. But I am going to speed the process. We are actually going to go over to Photoshop now, and then I will show you everything onto there. Are we on Photoshop? Not yet. Okay. I'm gonna open my files. And so,
Ooh.
this away.
Wow.
Yeah, so imagine I have already finished coloring everything. Everything is in black and white, but I will show you guys how everything looks. So part of the scene I created in Illustrator, so like these blockier texts I created in Illustrator. And so for example, these would be just like my illustration pages. And so
Whoa.
I know it looks crazy right now. Like my panels probably look ridiculous.
Oh.
Yeah. I keep it this way just because it's really good to label everything, and so not everything's in order.
Wait,
but,
it's like fascinating to see how you organize your layers.
yeah, I probably did this super chaotically though.
No, I think it's really organized. So you have page 5 teal, page
Yeah.
5 pink, and then the background is the background for page 5.
Yeah. And so I also added text in the which I wanted all of the text to be in teal as well.
Oh.
Yeah, and so some of them had to be white just because I have like a darker background.
Okay.
And so that's just how it looks.
So you'll just clipping mask them out or something?
Yeah, and so if I wanted to show you guys what teal would look like, I always forget the colorways. So it's nice to have the chart. So Max's Garage Press has a chart where they show you the HTML codes, and so that's the colors I'm going to be following. So if I wanted teal,
That's really useful.
yeah, it's nice that they have it just on their website. And so if you go to Max's Garage Press website and then you just type or look for their membership, it will give you like a pink layer. But so I'm going to just do a new layer. So everything's pink. And so I'm going to clip it onto like this pink layer. And so, oh, it's upside down. Let's try a new layer. So if I was to combine all these pink layers, I'm gonna hide all of these teal ones. They're just all separated like that just because I work kind of chaotically.
I feel like that's very relatable.
Is it?
Yeah.
I hope so, because sometimes I get lost. When I was printing the zine, actually, I got lost and I like missed one layer, and then I had to go back and like make a copy of that layer and then like print it out again.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that happens quite a bit when it comes to risograph printing.
Got it. So you're hiding everything that's not pink.
Yes, I'm hiding everything that's not pink, and I'm going to actually, why did that layer disappear? Interesting. I'm gonna release this clipping mask real quick. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know why those layers disappeared. Give me a sec.
So cool. Oh, Alessandra says they're working on an 8 pages zine, but traditionally.
Ooh.
That's so cool.
With-
Is it with
I know,
the-
lino cut or?
Yeah, or is it with the like foldy method, you know? How you
Yeah.
like take a piece of paper
Yeah.
and like cut out the middle and then you can have a like little foldy
Yeah.
DIY zine.
That's how I did this scene actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
and so, all right, I'm gonna combine all the pink layers now. Just merge them all. And then so I'm going to, and so this is what the pink layer would look like, right?
Ah.
And so if I did the same with the teals, I'm going to hide that. And then again, I'm going to have my teal color that I'm grabbing from Max's.
That's so
page.
cool that they have the hex codes there. Like
It's handy. It's really handy.
Yeah. I think even if you don't even go to this studio, like
Yeah.
anyone could use this resource.
It's nice too because I think most Risograph places have a hex code for you to try out. Just so it helps you with your process as well.
Yeah.
But you can see this is like what the teal layer would look like.
Cool.
And then this is what the pink layers would look like.
Cool.
And so if you really wanted to mock it, I would change the, I would change it to multiply. Yeah, so I would change the layer.
That's cool. There's like a third color.
Yeah, and so it shows you the third color right there. And so this is the most difficult thing when you're risograph printing. You have to make sure like the layers are registered. And there's so many things that can go wrong. It's quite crazy actually. But you try your best and again, leaning into the mistakes. But so that's how I would do that. And then this is what the actual layers look like.
Yeah.
But say I'm going to duplicate this group and I'm going to do a mock-up of what it would look like if I didn't have these layers separated already.
Okay.
So we're just gonna merge this completely.
Oh yeah. How would you even separate that then?
So say, like pretend you have a digital print already.
Okay.
I wanted to show everyone what it would look like. Oh, that's the wrong one. And merge this group. And so say you didn't have the colors already, you would just go into the channels layer.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so you would have this, right? It would be much more clean, I'm sure. I mean, I'm just going to hide. But you want to make sure you're clicking on this. And
Yeah.
so this is like just your photo. I'm just going to label everything just so everything's nice.
Wait, this is so cool.
Yeah. So you just do that. And then you would make sure this is in CMYK first of all. So mode, I want to be in CMYK. Just going to merge. So that, let's actually go into a new, just so I don't lose this file. I'm going to paste it here.
Well, oh, you just did copy paste? How'd you do that?
Oh yeah, I did Command Shift V. So Command Shift or Command C and then Command V. I'm going to go to image. I'm going to go in mode and CMYK. I'm going to flatten it. It's gonna ask a bunch of these things before you do it, and you're like, okay, it's fine. So then you would go into the channels layer.
Oh.
And you would click on the, yeah, so this is a 3 color. Obviously there's no black, but there's a way to like kind of bypass it if you just wanted this to be 2 color. So basically all you would do, you would click on this, you would Control C, copy the cyan layer, and then you would come back in here and you would paste it. Oh, you would paste it. Oh, why is it? Give me 1 sec.
I think you might have to duplicate the background. Oh yeah.
I think it's because it's locked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was locked. So you have to make sure you're clicking on layer 0. And once you click on layer 0, you can go into the channels and then you can just click the cyan color, copy it. I did Control C, click here, and then, what is it doing? Oh. Okay, give me one sec. A little troubleshooting.
Fascinating. Keys says a slide rule is a like a abacus but more advanced. And I believe you, Keys. And Alessandra mentioned Aiya is like an expression similar to something she has in their culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
When-
like
what
it's
is
like an
it?
exclamation.
Yeah,
If you have
yeah.
an Aiya
Yeah.
equivalent
Yeah.
in your culture or even in English, what would like the translation be? Like,
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Or like the F word, I guess. But yeah, oh my God is like the most closely related one.
Yeah.
I think in like Vietnamese, it's like trời ơi,
Okay.
like trời đất ơi, like that's like oh my God in a
Yeah.
way. Yeah. Or I think in like Tagalog, like Filipinos use Jusko, like Jusko naman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I finally was able to do
Cool.
the channels. And so you basically want to click on that, click on cyan, control all. So make sure you're selecting this layer. So control all. Then you want to go back into the layers panel and then control C.
You mean Control V?
Oh, control V. Yes.
That's so cool. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing.
but you
this.
also, you want to make sure you're clicking on the exact one. So control all, control C, control V. And so here's the cyan. And so right now I would actually label all these layers just to make sure you're actually getting those layers in. So if I was to do that again, make sure you're clicking on the layer 0. And then you go into channels. I click on magenta, control all, control C, and then control, what is it?
V.
Yeah, control V. And then I'm gonna label this pink. And so I would go again, clicking layer 0. Oh, I think it might have picked up. Give me one sec.
And then if you do that, is it possible to miss colors? Like if there's like
It
a little bit
is.
of yellow or something?
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
just
yeah.
have to darken the
You would just
pink.
combine the layers.
Oh.
Yeah, so like this cyan isn't, or like this, I say cyan for like RGB, I guess, or like CMYK, right? I just put it as cyan, but this is actually like my teal layer.
Got it.
Yeah. This pink layer actually I messed up again. Yeah, it's also smart to hide the teal layer. This part gets really, really confusing only because it just like has a mind of its own sometimes. And it's really easy to get lost in between the layers. Yeah. But this method works extremely well when you're trying to grab the layers. But yeah, this would be my pink layer, or it would be my M. But I'm going to grab the yellows and the blacks, and then I will show you.
Yeah, for those who are just joining us now, I just saw Nate's comment. I have no idea what we were doing. No, this is cool. Yeah, we're in the process of, like, Faith's in the process of setting up her file to be Risograph printed, and she just walked us through how she illustrates like inks and like colors in her sketch in Fresco. And now we are kind of laying things out design-wise and separating. She's showing us a hack for how you can separate out the colors. Because for Riso printing, you have to have each individual color on a different layer or as a different file. So if you want like a pink and blue illustration Riso printed, you need to have like the pink layer be printed first and then the teal layer.
Yeah, so now I have CMYK, so this is black, yellow, pink, and teal.
Cool.
And then this is our original drawing. And so basically you would just save this as like a PDF, and then you would print it out like that on the Risograph. And so the nice thing about my studio is that they also were able to get a, oh, I forgot the name of it, but it's the device that connects the Risograph printer to the actual, what's it called? Risograph printer to the actual computer, which most Risograph places don't have, or like it's really hard to get it. I forgot the name of it.
It's not just a USB?
No, it's not.
Oh, they don't have
You
that?
have to get like this entire machine. I'm like blanking on the name right now. It's a really funny name.
So what do people do?
You have to just wait to like get that. part.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, especially for like older Risograph machines.
I see.
Yeah, like I think I was working with the Risograph machine at Helvella, and that one, like, you needed to get that separate part, and you don't even know if that part's gonna work because it really depends.
That's annoying.
Yeah. Risograph is one of those things where it's like, it's so great, but it's also like the oldest invention ever, because Risograph printing is like the first copy printer. Yeah, it was like made in Japan. It was like the first of its kind, and that's how, like, that's where the history comes from. And now people have like resurfaced them, and that's why most of them are like in Japan, just because that's where it's made. The parts are really hard to find for it, and so
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the machines are huge.
yeah, and so many little different things can break all the time.
The Riso studio I visited in Taiwan, they had a 2-drum printer.
Oh, really?
So you could print 2 colors at once.
Yeah, that's a new
It was
one.
huge.
Yeah.
And they built the room around it.
Around
it?
it?
Yeah, so there's no way you can remove that machine.
Like out the door.
Yeah, out the door. Like they like carted it in and then they like built the door and stuff.
Wait,
Isn't that funny?
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Max's actually does have a 2-1 as well, but like that's crazy. If they needed to fix the machine, like how would they do that?
I don't know. Just bring someone on site.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Because it's like you literally have to take out so many different parts. Like not only just in like the printer itself, but like even in the drums. And so there's like these giant drums that are
Yeah.
the ink cartridges. Like ink cartridges, you know, like at your printer, like this tiny.
Yeah.
Like the ink cartridges are like
Are
giant.
large.
They're
Yeah.
like you have to use 2 hands to
Yeah.
carry them. There's no way to carry them with one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so even those break really easily. If like one wrong mistake, you can
Yeah.
like mess it up really easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Riso is like a cool concept. And I think it's pretty new for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, we don't just normally like encounter it randomly
Yeah,
for
yeah,
most
yeah.
average person.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool.
I'm gonna show a really quick tip.
Yeah. Well, in your file, kind of going back to your design,
Mm-hmm.
are you complete with that? Like, are you done with the design that you were laying out? Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much done with this. And so when I actually start to print it out, this is more of what it's gonna look like. And so if I was to
Yeah.
go back to this file.
Yeah, I think maybe for context for people, like maybe you could take us through your zine.
Oh,
even.
yeah.
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 'Cause we watched you color in and paint a page. But yeah, we haven't seen the whole thing
Yeah,
yet.
I'll
And-
definitely show it in just one second.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show people like this handy tool I had recently learned.
Cool.
Trying to find it. And so you want to grab the layer that you're using. And so there's a lot of things that can happen when you're risograph printing. Say like it wasn't opaque enough. And so there's a method in order to make it more opaque. So get out my notes real quick. Apologies. But there is a way to, I always get lost when it comes to, but basically you just go to the layers and then you go to the adjustments and you go to levels. And basically right here is in the levels panel, it's gonna show you the darkest. And so you can make it darker by this. And so
cool.
it would make like, this is the teal layer, I believe. Yeah, this is the teal layer and you can make it darker by going this way. Or if you want it to be a lighter teal, you can adjust it this way. So these are the light adjustments. And then the midtones, you can adjust them here. And so that's really nice to use whenever you're trying to figure out how to, oh wow, my settings got all weird. If you're trying to adjust certain layers in your risograph, after you've like printed it out and you're like, oh, I wanted this lighter or darker, but there's also like settings on the machines where you can adjust the density, right? Have you seen, or
Yeah.
the density and then
the way the texture shows up.
yeah, so there's like smooth, there's like grain touch, and then there's a screen cover. I typically like screen cover more than like grain touch.
Oh, okay. I don't know these. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you use screen cover. It's like where it gives you the little halftones.
Yeah.
Like if you look really close into them, they give you like the little halftones.
I just go with whatever is already on
Oh.
the machine. Yeah.
I think the default setting is like grain touch,
Okay.
which is just like a smoother layer.
I also like your clock. I'm actually making a ceramic clock like that.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, like a
A
clock.
ceramic
That's
clock?
why I was like
Rolling out
so many
slabs?
slabs. Yeah.
Did you have a stencil to like?
I just like printed one out. And
Oh.
then, yeah. And then I bought like plaster boards.
I
to
see.
put them
I
in
see.
between.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So this is I think we're going to now switch over to my desktop in order to show you what the final zine looked like. I'm gonna move this out the way. But this is what my files typically look like when it comes to my zine. But now we're gonna switch over to my camera. We're gonna switch over to my desktop now.
Desktop? You mean
Yeah, so like my
Oh.
yeah. So I can show you guys what the actual zine looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna turn on this light because it's a little bit
Faith has a
brighter.
very high tech setup
Let's see.
in her room. We are now turning on her overhead camera so that she'll share the this is her table. Oh,
Yes. Is it showing?
I think it's just a little dark.
Oh, is it really dark? Is that what's happening? Okay, this is probably much better. Okay.
Nate says, Allison Faye, thank you. This has been interesting. Thank you.
So this is
cool.
what the final zine actually looks like.
Wow.
Yeah, and so as you can see, like that's both layers combined, but I actually have these two to show you in order for people to like kind of understand the layers a little bit better. And so this is like kind of, you can see like tiny misregistration marks, which is like fine. But like, so when you're risograph printing, you start off, you usually want to print like light to dark. And so that's what the first layer would typically look like. And then you would print the teal layer like this. And so, yeah, so it's like,
So this is teal only,
this is teal
and
only.
you just showed us pink only.
Yeah,
And when you put them together,
yeah, it turns
forms,
into this.
and then all the little overlapping areas of the pink and the teal form this purple.
Yeah, and so it's really crucial to try to keep all your layers separate. And so like for each drawing, I actually had them all in separate layers. Like how I did when I was drawing earlier, I tried to keep all the layers separate. And so like I kept that layer separate and then that layer separate and then this layer separate and then this layer separate. And then once I like finally have all the layers, then I combine all of the similar colors. And so I would combine all the pinks together with the adjustments of opacities. And so like this is like opacity of like 30 and this one's like 75, and then I would just combine them together, and so the opacities would be on one separate layer.
That's
So
so
yeah.
cool. Maybe we could like zoom it in to the screen a little.
Yeah,
People can see.
yeah, if you guys can see.
That is so cool. Let us know if you have any questions about Nate says this is Jedi talk.
This is Jedi talk.
That's so funny.
Printing Jedi talk. But yeah.
Yes. That's really cool.
But yeah, so this is how I turn my thing into a zine. So when you're making a zine, so I had this piece of paper earlier. I start by just folding it in half. And so I would just fold it in half, and then I would use a really nice bone folder, and I'll just like bone fold it.
Oh, you can use this?
I sometimes use that, honestly.
Oh. Okay,
This is
cool.
actually a ceramics tool.
Awesome.
Yeah, but
That's great.
sometimes I use this if I just like have whatever's handy.
Well, how do you use that?
How would I use it?
What is that? The function of it?
Of
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Oh, this is for throwing.
No, I know, but for bone folding? How do you
Yeah,
use
so
it?
basically to get these like really crispy edges, I like to fold them, and then I like to. Yeah, this is for like super crispy edges.
You guys, this is like the most like high tech, like full stack stream that I've ever been on.
I think this one is. Oh, here's my bone folder. Yeah, this one's actually my nicer bone folder. This is
Bone
just a
folder.
ceramics tool, but it's like sometimes it's just whatever I have on hand, or like you can also just use your nail. But I would have like a really clean surface and just do it that way. But I would just bone fold it like that. Because you can do it with your hand. So I like to use like an extra tool. But then after folding that way, I would fold it to match up the lines. I would go like that, fold it that way, and then turn it around, and then fold it that way. And then when I'm here, and so I'm just gonna cut in the center like as best as I can.
Jennifer Non says, we love a multi-passionate creative with all the tools.
Jen also has all the tools. She always has like these amazing machines.
Yeah.
Jen from It's Jen Made.
Oh, cool. I see there's a little bit of buffering that people are saying in the chat, but basically Faith just cut this like middle slot in her zine.
Yes.
So if you missed it, she just cut this slot open.
Yeah, so if you guys, is this still buffering? So this is what I cut. I just folded it in half, and then I cut just this middle part. And so you don't want to go beyond it because then you'll just cut it in half. And so you want to cut it ever so slightly so that way it's still like put together.
Okay.
Yeah, and so once it's cut in half,
yeah, then what?
then after you folded it like that exact way I folded it, you can like kind of fold it up, stand it together, and then fold it down. So now this is the front page and that's the back page. And then fold it in and you have a completed zine.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. I'm clapping. Take us through.
Yeah, so now this is the Aiya zine, the artist edition. And so this is a little explanation of like what Aiya means, just for people who don't know for the very first time. And so this is an artist edition where these are like things that artists always have to go through. And so when you're trying to draw hands, that's an Aiya moment. And that's like all the ugly hands. It's a little light, and so it's not as easy to see, but that's like something I would just fix. I expected the pink to be a lot more darker, and so I would just fix it through printing, or I would just fix again how I did the levels curves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up towards the end of the stream. We've got a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks to everyone for joining, and maybe we could switch back to the main camera actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really great. Thank you to Faith for showing us your wonderful process. I'll just keep flipping through as we switch back. But yeah, it's been wonderful. We can still continue to share your zine.
Yeah.
You know, and thank you to our wonderful moderator, Jack, for including Faith's URL in the chat, Faith Cow.
Thank you.
And where can people find you on socials?
People can find me now at Faith Calculator. I just did a Instagram name change. I still own at Calculator, but it will just be like a personal account, I think. And then you can find me on all socials there. You can find me at my website on faithcow.com.
Where you can buy like earrings.
Well, earrings are on the website. They actually take me a really long time to make.
Never mind. You have to go to the market to find that.
You unfortunately have to. Or you can DM me or email me a private message, and I do like special orders, and so it's just like the same price as I would sell at the market, but then I would just ship it to you. I just don't do it in like huge quantities just yet. I just need to figure out my process on how to like make more of them.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So keep up with Faith at Faith Calculator. Stay tuned for her shop drop, which is coming on September 9th.
Yes, at 10 a.m.
Yes, I'm by Alice Lee as well. So if you watch this afterwards, please feel free to give us a shout. And stay also tuned for Faith's zine.
Yeah, my very first zine.
When is this coming out?
That's also coming out on September 9th.
With the shop drop.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been wonderful to chat with everyone and learn about Faith's process. Very multidisciplinary.
Thank you.
Yeah, so have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for having us.